What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to speak about Typlosion and the current state of the market, but I just want to start off with a quick story, but you're more than welcome to skip ahead to when the investing starts. I'll put a little timestamp up on the screen now for when that starts. Okay, so Typlosion is actually the Pokemon that I've spent the most time on a Game Boy with, because in 2003 or 2, I think it was, I went to Belgium with my family. Half my family's Belgian, the other half South African. And this was still at a time where electronics were somewhat in the future around the rest of the world compared to South Africa. South Africa was a little bit in the dark ages, as the 90s kids will remember. If you slightly younger than that, you have probably no idea. But yeah, we had to wait a bit for the rest of the world. Well, we had to catch up. The rest of the world was slightly ahead in terms of tech and also movies and all that stuff. But anyway, my brother was also 3 years older than me at the time, and he was well aware of the fact that we would probably get a Game Boy in Belgium when we went to go visit our family, being like the black sheep of the family. And yeah, they wanted to spoil us, and at the time, Game Boys were pretty much the hype thing. So we were really excited about getting the Game Boy, and the first Pokemon game that we played was Pokemon Gold. And we played a lot of it. And if you remember, the first 3 options were either Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Chikorita. And just because I loved Charizard before I played that game, I always would click on the fire one, just because I loved the fire. It was fire. And yeah, so because I had that game and not many other games, I played a lot of Typlosion fights, and he was the main character that I would obviously level up the whole time, every time I replayed the game, because he was my favorite. And I don't think, Charizard wasn't in that game. You had to play the earlier version. So yeah, inevitably this became one of my favorite Pokemon. So I just wanted to share that little nostalgia with you guys, and also play some nice 4K art of this beautiful card. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite Pokemon and why. Mine is obviously because of that first Game Boy experience. But now, back to the channel. Today we're going to be speaking about the obvious and most insane thing we've ever seen in Pokemon in a while. 2 of the biggest publications, one I'm not so fond of, one is pretty cool. The Wall Street Journal, which you saw in the thumbnail, has been speaking about Pokemon, which has caused a huge amount of money to all of a sudden come into the Pokemon market that has been predicted for a while. The 90s kids that grew up with this, that are finally successful businessmen, and successful traders, successful in whatever financial field, that have money that they want to invest, are starting to look at Pokemon. And not small amounts of money. This is people that usually trade crypto, trade other fiat, other currencies, other stocks. The point is, these are big boys in the market that are ready to put big money away into Pokemon. And just to give you an idea of what I mean, let's see the graph here. There's 34 listings. I did a summary because you can see some of the listings have more. And if you remember on my video that we recorded, I think it was yesterday, I showed Trading Card World. He had his listed at 400. I think he had 99. I might be wrong. He might have pushed up his price just before because he saw it going up. Shout out to this guy because he's setting a mark that looks achievable, but every time it gets to that price point, I think he sets it a bit higher. So that's one of the goats of keeping the market in the right direction. Shout out this guy. So what I want to say is, there's 124 boxes. Let's do some quick fun maths. 124 boxes. Average price, let's say listed, is $500, just because there's some expensive ones towards the bottom and 2-3 ridiculous ones. But we'll do an average of 500, just for fun's sake. That's 62,000 US dollars. For me and for you probably watching, that's a fortune. That's a ridiculous amount of money. That's more than double my entire portfolio. It's crazy money. But to some people moving ETH around, some people moving Bitcoin around, some people that had a heyday with NFTs or whatever they got lucky with. That 62 means nothing. Really. To them, that's literally a day at Louis Vuitton or a day at wherever they like to spend their money. So we're about to see shifts in the market that are unprecedented. We're about to see graphs go nuclear. We're about to see markets do things that only investors' dreams could be made of. This is crushing every other market. The S&P couldn't touch it. Almost crypto couldn't touch it. It's getting to that point. It's very, very exciting. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm showing you guys that this is going to the moon. If you were part of the journey 6 days ago and you heeded my call and you went out and bought one box, you would have had a return of $50 profit already. If you had bought 10 boxes, that would have been a $500 gain. This is not financial advice. However, it is something that you should take as a potential tip to make some money, because as history would show, the craziest part about Pokemon is there hasn't been a single set in history that hasn't gone up in value. Even the worst set ever printed has and always will be significantly more expensive than when it came out. So yeah, this is one of those products that even with a reprint, I feel like it won't really be affected. The price might come down a little bit, but then the market will swallow it up. And then another publication will come out with some more hot news on another hot channel. Pokemon will go through another new bubble. So guys, heed my call. If you can, at this price, afford to get in a Destin Rivals booster box, get one. But if you really want to make money and you can't afford to long-term holding will outplay any play in Pokemon. Outplay single, flipping, outplay literally any other play. Just buying sealed product, keep it safe, lock it away, forget about it. And if you don't have an itch to open up Pokemon, you don't have a problem. But for me, that's not always the case. I always feel like opening a pack or two, but not in this Mew bubble. It's staying sealed. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. I think I'm going to bring out some error cards. It's going to be very cool to look at. Have an epic weekend.